Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about their new Star Wars TV shows and Star Wars movies that are currently in the works by Disney and Lucasfilm. That's really going to deliver an entirely new experience for the Star Wars fandom at heart. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the Disney Star Wars universe is that everything that has been happening for the past number of weeks with the Kenobi TV series, a lot of fans, and rightfully so, they have valid reasons to feel this way, have been very skeptical about what the other Star Wars TV shows are about to showcase for the Star Wars community, since Kenobi really got a bad rap. Now, when you go ahead and look at what John and Dave are developing, they are the people to trust. These are the guys that are really dedicating their lives to really bringing Star Wars back in action and turning things around for the better. Meanwhile, you have shows out there like Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte TV shows that are mainly being creatively involved by Kathleen Kennedy, and those two shows, I gotta tell you, I mean, not looking too great in my opinion. So far, the Acolyte TV series, it's been on and off production for a year and a half now. Skeleton Crew, even though it is filming as we speak, it is going to be a show that is heavily done by Kathleen Kennedy, and that really does not sound like a good, thing at all, period. Now, on top of this, what's even all the more exciting is what Disney CEO Bob Chapek is currently planning for future Star Wars movies, and of course, the continuation of the Skywalker saga in multiple formats. That's really going to set things up for new Skywalkers to come into the equation of the Star Wars universe moving ahead. Now, on top of all of this, with creators like Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and George, all working together as a team right now to deliver a great experience for Star Wars that will deliver the return of Star Wars legends, as well as new Star Wars stories and more. It's described, however, that a big project that is now being worked on by Disney and Lucasfilm is developing the stories of Star Wars episodes 10, 11, and 12 that are about to be made canon by 2024 in the form of a series of books and comics that will tell the tales of the Skywalkers after the events of episode 9 that will eventually be made into Star Wars movies sometime after that, where Disney is currently planning already. Now, it's described that these new installments will focus on the story of Cade Skywalker almost 45 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. Disney already has all eyes on actor Garrett Hedlund for quite some time now for the new Star Wars movies that they are currently planning to begin developing in the near future. However, all of this will be made canon before the movies arrive, and the books and the comics will be introduced in 2024, and everything that will be illustrated in these new books and comics will be used for the story of episodes 10, 11, and 12 as films. Now, it's noted that one of the new villains to appear in the new Star Wars 10, 11, and 12 projects will be a new Sith Lord that rises with his apprentice known as Darth Talon that will be used in these new Star Wars movies. Now, Darth Talon is taken directly from Star Wars Legacy comics that will be retold in a very near accurate way by Disney now, with the new books and comics by 2024 to eventually be made into Star Wars movies. The story of Cade is described to be a very involved story and even more complex than the story of Anakin that will allow Favreau and Filoni and other creators to take Star Wars in a brand new direction. Now, before I get on to the more exciting stuff, in case you guys have no idea who Cade Skywalker is, go ahead and look him up. He is a direct descendant of the Skywalker lineage. And what's really interesting about all of this is that Cade Skywalker, if you guys have read the Legacy comics, is that he is a combination of all the traits of Boba Fett, Han Solo, Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, and even Palpatine mixed in there a little bit. He is a combination of all the big-name Star Wars characters in one. Hence why he's going to be a very complex Star Wars Skywalker-oriented character per se. Now, moving from all of this, we already know that Garrett Hedlund has been in the talks about these projects for quite a long time now, about a year now. We've been talking about this on and off, of how Garrett Hedlund has been in the talks with Disney for reappearing in future Tron movies, as well as getting involved in these Star Wars projects as well, and how they want to model him for the comics of Cade Skywalker and how they're going to use that in the new Star Wars movies eventually. Now, this is where the real exciting things start to arise, is that Disney originally wanted to just begin on the movies right from the get-go, however, wanted to release these stories as books and comics in 2024, and how they are planning to begin work on these movies by the very beginning of 2026. Disney wanted to create a little gap between the sequel trilogy movies and what is now being dubbed as the post-sequel trilogy films. Post-sequel trilogy movies are described to have a different tone and will be far darker than every other Skywalker Star Wars movie. This tone will be illustrated in the episode 10, 11, and 12 books and comics that are currently in the working stages right now that will be published in 2024. Now, part of the branding of these comics and books is that they will have the Roman numerals stamped on the covers of these books and comics to really showcase that these are episodic installments, not necessarily just regular comics and books. Now, Garrett Hedlund has already been in the talks with Disney, and they are just waiting for Garrett to finish up on some projects before they can even move forward with his plans as Cade in the new Star Wars episodes, where Cade is planned to be a true descendant of the Skywalkers this time around, given that Disney has been making some changes back and forth for these new stories. Disney now wants to stick with George's original plan, that Star Wars was supposed to be a total of 12 episodes. You guys may or may not remember, but George Lucas said this in many interviews, that he always wanted Star Wars to cap out at 12 episodes maximum. And he wanted it all to end there, basically. He wanted to essentially focus on 10, 11, and 12 being the very end of the entire Skywalker saga, period, the end for good. And now Disney's picking up on George's vision, and they're making that into a reality. It's going to be a very lengthy process, but it is in the works for the books and the comics first. That's going to have all the details of the stories that will eventually transfer over into the films. Personally, I think it's a very good strategy on their part because it's going to boost the familiarity of these movies, or of these characters that will be put into the movies, and it's going to also boost the familiarity of Cade Skywalker, which very little fans know about. Only the hardcore fans, and maybe some casual fans out there, really researched about this character. So obviously, a lot of things are happening with Disney CEO Bob Chapek. This is, of course, another way for him to create a legacy for himself. Essentially, what he is trying to do is that he's trying to really create a new era of Star Wars that's going to really focus on the continuation of the Skywalkers starting in 2026 is when they want to start and begin working on these movies. Of course, that's still a ways out. I mean, we got quite a long time. But as you all know, time moves fast many, times for these projects. So overall, I think that everything related for Garrett Hedlund as Cade is perfect. We talked about this before, but now it's actually beginning to move along in development. They're beginning to work on these books and comics already in the early phase, and it will be released by the holiday of 2024. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.